The last days of the Serbian monarchy represent one of the most dramatic transitions of 20th century Europe. This is the story of a young king, Peter II, who ascended the throne amidst political turmoil and was swept away by the winds of war.
The Young King and the Storm.
Peter II was born in 1923, the son of King Alexander I, who was assassinated in Marseille in 1934. At just 11 years old, Peter became king under the regency of his cousin, Prince Paul. In March 1941, when Prince Paul signed a non-aggression pact with Nazi Germany, a coup d'état led by pro-Allied officers overthrew the regent and declared Peter II of age. He was only 17. Germany's response was swift. On April 6, 1941, Axis forces invaded Yugoslavia. The German invasion, codenamed Operation Punishment, began with a brutal bombing of Belgrade that left thousands dead and devastated the capital. Within days, the Axis powers launched a coordinated multi-front assault. German forces pushed from Austria and Romania, Italians advanced from Albania, Hungarians moved in from the north, and Bulgarian troops crossed into southeastern Yugoslavia. The Royal Yugoslav Army, already weakened by internal divisions and distrust among its multi-ethnic ranks, was unprepared for such a synchronized and technologically superior offensive. Command structures collapsed rapidly under the weight of the coordinated Axis offensive. Communication lines were severed, orders from Central Command failed to reach frontline units, and the chain of command disintegrated. In many regions, commanders were left without guidance or reinforcements, facing overwhelming enemy numbers. This paralysis led to widespread disorganization and panic among the troops. In some instances, entire battalions surrendered without engaging, while in others, disillusioned soldiers simply deserted and returned to their villages. The lack of a unified national identity within the multi-ethnic army further undermined cohesion, with some units composed of Croats, Slovenes, or Bosniaks expressing little will to defend a regime they felt no allegiance to. Cities like Skopje, Niš, and Sarajevo fell quickly, while Belgrade remained in ruins from the Luftwaffe's initial bombardments. The pace and breadth of the Axis advance left the military and civilian population in chaos, sealing Yugoslavia's fate within less than 2 weeks. By April 17, just 11 days after the invasion began, the Kingdom of Yugoslavia officially capitulated. The unconditional surrender was signed in Belgrade, marking one of the swiftest collapses of a sovereign European state during World War II. The country was divided among the occupiers. Germany, Italy, Hungary, and Bulgaria each took control of zones. The royal court, stripped of all territorial power, had become a symbol in exile. Meanwhile, the population faced immediate repression, internment, and ethnic violence, particularly as puppet regimes and collaborationist structures were quickly established. The fall of Yugoslavia did not just signify military defeat, but the dismemberment of a fragile state stitched together by monarchy. Facing imminent capture, and with no viable base of power left after the rapid disintegration of Yugoslavia, King Peter II was urged by both British advisors and members of the royal cabinet to flee. The decision was made hastily in the early hours of April 16, 1941, as Axis forces encircled remaining government strongholds. With no time for ceremonial farewells or formal declarations, the 17-year-old king, still in uniform, boarded a Royal Air Force transport aircraft on a remote airstrip near Nikšić, Montenegro. Accompanied by a handful of loyal ministers, military aides, and a few personal effects, he was flown first to Athens, then Cairo, and finally to London, where he established a government in exile. His departure marked the definitive collapse of monarchical authority on Yugoslav soil and the start of an enduring struggle to remain a sovereign in title, if not in territory.
Resistance and exile.
From London, Peter II tried to preserve the legitimacy of the Yugoslav monarchy. He supported the Chetniks, a royalist resistance force led by General Draža Mihailović. However, the situation on the ground was complex. Tito's communist partisans were gaining territory and international support. In 1944, under British pressure, Peter II agreed to form a unity government with the communists, but his influence was quickly diminishing. On November 29, 1945, the Yugoslav Constituent Assembly proclaimed the Federal People's Republic of Yugoslavia, abolished the monarchy, and officially deposed Peter II. The king never abdicated and considered his removal illegal. In 1947, the communist regime stripped him of his citizenship and confiscated royal property. Peter II lived the rest of his life in exile, mostly in the United States. He died in 1970 in Denver, Colorado, and was buried at the Serbian Orthodox Church of St. Sava in Libertyville, Illinois, the only European monarch buried on U.S. soil.
A symbolic return.
After the fall of communism, the royal family began to regain its place in Serbian society. In 2001, Peter II's remains were transferred to the royal mausoleum in Opljenac, Serbia, alongside those of his ancestors. That same year, Crown Prince Alexander returned to Serbia and took up residence in the royal palace in Belgrade, where he still lives. Although the monarchy has not been restored, Crown Prince Alexander has advocated for a constitutional monarchy as a symbol of national unity. The history of the Serbian monarchy is not only that of kings and palaces, but also that of a people who, through wars, exile, and regime changes, have kept alive the memory of their identity.